Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Skyliners and Skywatchers. My name is Vash, and I'm here with the lovely Vixen, talking to you from, well, somewhere, probably in Arizona, going over all the, the news that is very, very interesting, I will say. I do apologize about the delay there. We had a little bit of an audio issue on our side, and I think it's still actually going on, which is most unfortunate because I think it's just going to be Vixen and I for the stream. I had I wanted to have MJ on in order to talk about what was going on in Disney World concerning their Starlight Parade and how they've updated it. And it's awesome. It's fantastic. But I think we might have to actually have that conversation another time, simply because I won't be able to hear her. It's this is a bizarre problem that I've never experienced before, and so I just need a little bit more time to research it and actually find out what's going on. But suffice to say, yeah, I think if I were to bring on MJ, which I can right now, I will not be able to hear her. You guys might be able to, but I will not, and that makes for a very difficult conversation. Oh, yeah. Okay, so she's waving me off. She's saying no. Okay, so we'll go ahead and do that. All right, that's completely fine right there. No problem. All right, do apologize, guys, but I will never apologize for anybody who wants to support the channel. This by Juliet right here with the 2 British pounds sterling. Thank you so much. Very much appreciate that. Evening Vash Sky ParkCast and Skyliners. Vixen, are you there?
I am here.
Absolutely. Good.
And we have all of these Sky Watchers with us. Thank you so much. And all the other people that are watching, thank you.
Absolutely.
And we also have a 99-cent super chat.
Yes.
From Barry the Music Man.
From Barry the Music Man right there. Thank you so much, Juliet, by the way, for the 2 British pounds sterling and for modding for us.
Yes, and Juliet, too. Juliet. I love Juliet. She's great.
I like Juliet as well as Barry the Music Man right here, gifting 99 cents with a super sticker. And it's a little guy with the sunglasses on, acting pretty cool. It's a pretty cool day indeed.
Love that.
Let me go ahead and start to share my screen right here so that we can go ahead and get on to the first story that we have. And folks, I'm telling you, it's a big one. It is huge stuff going on in the realm of entertainment. As people know, Matt Bellany actually published something that was really, really interesting. I can't show you the article, but I can go ahead and show you this part of it right here. Bob Iger versus the Bob Iger book. For supposed press champion, the former Disney CEO has thin skin, and with the looming publication of an unauthorized biography, he and the Mouse House are playing offense with a surprising lawyer who has repped Trump, Melania, and Harvey Weinstein. Quite the client company, that is for sure. We've talked about attorneys that have represented Disney in the past who have connections to Weinstein and others, but this is an entirely different person attached to this. That Park Place has the article, so we're going to go ahead and go there with the amazing Marvin Montanaro. April 10th, 2026, Disney using Trump lawyer to protect thin-skinned Bob Iger from media exposure. Bob Iger isn't waiting around to see how this story gets told. With an unauthorized book about the Bob Iger era of the Walt Disney Company on the way, the company has reportedly brought in one of the most aggressive defamation lawyers in the country, raising immediate questions about what exactly they're trying to get in front of before it hits shelves. According to Bellany of Puck, Disney has hired high-profile attorney Charles Harder to intervene ahead of the release of the new book by Wall Street Journal's Robbie Whalen. Quote, I'm told Disney has hired Pitbull anti-media litigator Charles Harder to push back on author Robbie Whalen's tome, Bellany said. Now, Vixen, maybe you'd be able to help me with this. What is the history of Charles Harder and why it's so interesting that Disney, with the backing of, it looks like, with the push of Bob Iger, is hiring this particular attorney?
Well, I found his book on Amazon last night for $10.42. You can buy his book called Gawker Slayer, because he was the big attorney in the Gawker case with Hulk Hogan. And So he wrote this book all about his doings in that big case that brought down Gawker in a bankruptcy. So he's a very interesting character, and he's had very high-profile clients in the past. So now he has Disney.
Yes.
Right?
Well, I mean, that's the allegation there, right? Is that is that this was high profile enough, or at least something concerning enough, where you have a high profile attorney actually come in here and start what is now a letter campaign to Robbie Whalen, who I believe Bellany intimates that it might be intimidation actually taking place. This is just highly unusual, and I think actually Marvin makes reference here in his article, which will go on. Hardy is widely known for representing Donald Trump in defamation cases, along with other high-profile clients in aggressive media litigation. That alone makes this move stand out. Disney, long a company that publicly champions press access and storytelling, has now aligned itself with a lawyer best known for going after media outlets. I'm going to go ahead and skip that portion right here because, well, you heard from Vixen about his history yourself. But according to Bellany's reporting, this is already an active campaign. And, quote, in recent weeks, Harder has sent multiple threatening letters to publisher HarperCollins. And that's a direct quote from Bellany's article over there at Puck. Those letters reportedly target HarperCollins directly, while also taking aim at Whalen's credibility. Bellany claims that those letters are, quote, slamming Whalen as a supposedly biased journalist committing a bit of a hit job on Iger and the company. So this is some big time stuff right here. This is just simply something that really isn't done. As Marvin mentions here, Disney has also reportedly pushed for early access to the book's contents, demanding, quote, sufficient time to fact-check the book. That's an unusual step for an unauthorized biography, especially one positioned as an independent investigative look at one of the most powerful media executives in all of entertainment. This is why this is really making news right here. And look, this is the Streisand effect in action.
Ooh, Barbra Streisand?
Oh yes, it is. If people are not familiar with the term, it's a widely
explain that.
Yeah, so Barbra Streisand, she famously wanted she wanted a piece of information, I think, regarding her home and her home's location, to be suppressed or censored, right? And she unknowingly made the information that she wanted suppressed, more public by actually publicly going after the people with that information, right? So that's why we use the term Streisand effect in internet parlance, is a reference to that. Here, I wouldn't actually know of this book's existence without the fact that, well, Iger seems to be targeting this guy through Disney's coffers with a lawyer hired on technically Disney's behalf and with Disney's backing, going after this guy. And so now this the book reportedly titled "The House of Mouse: Bob Iger and the Fight for the Soul of Disney." Look, it wasn't on my radar before. It is very much now. And if there's a pre-order that I can get this book at, I'm going to be one of the first guys trying to get it.
Well, I can get you the Gawker Slayer.
Well, yeah, okay. The Gawker Slayer
for $10.49 on Amazon.
Right. Now, okay, so from what I understand, you might have purchased it, and you're looking to go over that book specifically?
Uh-huh. I sure am.
Which is big time stuff right here. Let's see, actually. Let's while we're having
it's the only book he's ever written about himself. That's true.
That's true. Let's see if we can get this going right here. Yes, we can. So Charles Herder, apparently, he's a guy that really goes after
he
some
slays.
people. He's
a slayer.
He slays. That's true. He's a slayer, right? But apparently, I mean, he was even trying to slay his prior client in Harvey Weinstein, who he apparently left representing and wanted to sue him back for what, $190,000 if I'm not mistaken.
Ooh, wow, he does slay.
He does slay. And if you don't pay him, he'll turn the ire on you apparently, which is very, very interesting. But this is, it's fascinating how Disney's approach to this, right? As Marvin pointed out there, this is a very unusual step. This is not something that is usually done. It seems to be, this book anyway, it seems to be very targeted at Bob Iger himself, right? And there's speculation about what exactly where exactly this book is getting its information. Apparently, Matt Bellany suggests that it might be actually Bob Chapek and other, by the way, disgruntled Disney executives that left the company and are looking to get some of these stories out there. That's the real speculation, though, that Chapek's involved. Which, by the way, if Chapek came out with a book, I'd absolutely be buying that. But we know that he might be under NDA in order to get that gold parachute that he has to not speak out about these things. So do you enlist the help of Robert of Wayland to do that? It looks like maybe that happened here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that could be, right? That very well could be.
Sure. And it is unbelievably fascinating if that actually was the case. It seems to be something that that Matthew Bellany is intimating, and I would no doubt suggest that might be the case. Although we might never know where exactly this information is actually coming from, and maybe that's what Charles Harder, working on behalf of Disney through Iger, is looking for, right? He's looking for, okay, where are you getting this info? What exactly is being told? What exactly is going to be featured in this book right here? And apparently they're threatening. So
yeah,
that's interesting, right?
And racking up billable hours.
Yeah, right. Well, of course. Well, and we talked about cost actually before this whole thing. Right? Like Nelson, the fight to bat away Nelson Peltz, the company apparently allegedly spent as much as $40 million, if not more, on that effort, right? So to protect Iger's legacy, whatever. We'll
That's nothing to Bob,
right? And you have to understand Bob's motivation. Bob is notoriously thin-skinned, but he is most concerned about his legacy. He is most concerned about his public image. This is why this guy never gets in front of a camera unless every single hair is in place, right? He is most attuned to how people think of him. In fact, there are some stories now that suggest that Iger had a range of burner accounts in which he was following figures that you guys follow, like, for example, WW Pro, That Park Place, and others. Oh, yes.
He's spying.
Right, because, and frankly, it's very consistent with somebody like this. We were talking before the show about motivation and reason, right? Motivation is the master of reason, not the other way around. What's Iger's motivation? Is it in the company's best interests, or is it in his own self-interest? Well, we really know that answer when we look at the decisions made under Iger, right? Where he's making deals with OpenAI for Sora, even though 2 months removed from that announcement, 2 months before actually, it was revealed in various publications that that venture was losing as much as $15 million a day, for OpenAI, and that economically that didn't work. But if you're looking to make a big splash before you actually, leave the big corner office right there with the showers, you make an announcement like that, even though it's going to be basically smoke up until you leave, which is exactly what happened. 1 week after Josh Giamaro gets the corner office, well, then we learn that Sora's going away forever. So,
right.
I mean, and you look at the stock price, right? a lot of decisions have been made in order to grow the stock. A lot of decisions have been made to get headlines and to have Iger's name connected to those headlines. So when I think about the idea that he might be going after an author, that he might be going after somebody who, might worry about publishing bad things about him, it totally makes sense. Now, this is interesting, Vixen, because we didn't talk about this one particular aspect. It's not necessarily that Iger is concerned about the fandom and what what they think of him. Apparently, according to Bellany, he actually says this. I'm going to read this couple sentences right here. Remember back in 2017 when Disney banned the LA Times from movie screenings as punishment for tough reporting on the company's dealings with the city of Anaheim? I remember that, by the way. I remember it quite vividly. If you guys have been watching That Park Lace or 3PO or wherever that I have relayed to you that story, you'll remember that there were a lot of dealings with Anaheim, right? In which, like, the company, for example, they get access and utilize the Mickey and French parking structure, this 10,000 space parking structure, which, by the way, was one of the largest in the world, constructed at that time, that it opened, I believe, in 2000 or 2001. They get access to that, even though it's paid by the city of Anaheim for $1. That's one of the examples that the LA Times actually brought out. And they were famously barred from going to premieres and so forth and being in invitees for the company's products because of that reporting. Now, they famously backtracked, and it didn't take long for that to actually happen, but it just kind of speaks to the mindset of an organization that is concerned with image. Bellany goes on, Iger also likely remembers how much his predecessor, Michael Eisner, hated the classic James B. Stewart book, Disney War, in 2005, and how Eisner was cast as a villain of sorts. It certainly impacted Eisner's legacy, at least among those who devour books about the media business, i.e. Iger's peers. It's not so much about the fans. It's not so much about, publications saying whatever against Iger. It's about how he looks in front of his peers. And I think that's very true.
It probably is. I will say that Bob and Josh have the best hair. Much better than Chapek.
Yes, well, yeah, non-existent hair.
I give them the hair awards.
Right. Well, I mean, hey, certainly we can give them awards. And by the way, some people are actually giving us awards through some super chats. Let's go ahead.
It's awesome.
Read those.
I'm so happy to see them here.
Absolutely. O2RR coming in here with the $1.99. Thank you for willing to stream today.
Thank you.
I have to. Hey, I'm willing to stream every day, but I'm really going to, forward this over to Vixen, who I am very, very happy that she decided to stream today. So thank you.
Of course. Yes, I'd love to see all these mischief makers in the chat. This is great.
Absolutely. O2R coming in again with the $4.99 this time. Always nice to have you and others keep me updated on the parks. The more bad news I keep hearing about Disney, the more I continue to stay away. Hey, whether it's bad news or good news, I actually wanted to start on a positive note with the Disney Starlight, but I want to save that for when MJ, when I can actually speak to her, because I think it's such an important story that they're actually doing some good there. Whether it's bad news, good news, we're happy to give you the news. We're happy to keep you informed on all things, not just Disney, but Universal, Six Flags, all of that. And it is our pleasure to talk about these things with you. So thank you.
Exactly. That's great. We just appreciate everyone being here. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. You see Bob Iger there ringing the little bell and everybody clapping. That's what I like to think. Everybody.
Yeah, and I see Bob Chapek with no hair.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, boy.
He broke the Disney dress code.
Yeah.
You have to have the good hair, right?
Oh, well, there was never a problem with baldness. You could be a cast member and be bald, but it's
like a personal attack or something.
Exactly, it's a personal attack or something. Thank you, MJ, for that clip right there. Yes, It might be. Although, no, he didn't embody, I think, the traditional Disney look for a CEO. And I think, it, you know, for a media company, right, that's always in the spotlight, for somebody who has to be not just a representative of Disney, but a representative almost of the entertainment class, it was very atypical to have somebody like that. And unfortunately, those were points against him. And, you know, appearance has a lot to do with how people perceive you. Well, I mean, look at politicians, right?
But didn't Chapek grow a beard?
Yes, he did. And that was one of the things.
He left?
Yes.
So he got the hair on the chin.
Right. They had
facial hair.
Yeah, they brought somebody. Oh man, she represents. I think she. I'm trying to remember. I think she was PR or image for Hillary Clinton back in the day. I can't think of the name right now. But they brought her in, and right after they did, that's when he started growing the beard. And the speculation at the time was that he was getting advice from you know, this person who was trying to help his image, and he definitely needed it. I mean, in the final days, right there, it really got bad. I mean, Susan Arnold was pretty much always in his camp up until the whole, you know, fiasco with the RCID and the SB 1557 right out there in the Parental Rights and Education Bill in Florida. He really needed image rehab, and he was trying, but it didn't prove enough in the end. And that's when the board ousted him. And that's the thing, right? That I think that's the most important thing featured maybe in this book, and maybe why Iger might not want this to be published in the way that maybe is implied by Robbie Whalen, because that time period between 2019 and 2023 is some of the most tumultuous in Disney's history. There's no question. And we've always speculated that Bob Iger might have played a big part in this. And I think Alex Sherman's reporting has bared it out. Alex Sherman from CNBC, and I believe a second series of articles from the New York Times have detailed that there was Iger influence there. That the falling out between the two men, that being Iger and Chapek, really did big damage to the company's image, and was a big part of what actually happened during that time. For example, like Scarlett Johansson and CAA suing on her behalf. No way, was it her lawsuit and CAA backed her? Not actually sure, but the Scarlett Johansson scandal in which they released Black Widow. At the same time, they released the film in theaters. They released on Disney Plus, right? Because theaters were closed and all of that, and we remember 2020. So much of her paycheck, though, was predicated on how that film actually did in theaters. And so, you know, the fact that was a simultaneous release, understanding that was going to do harm to the box office, well, that directly involved her paycheck, and that's why she sued. Yeah. But I think it was Alex Sherman who first reported that was, I mean, each men who you'll remember that Bob Iger in 2020, he said he was going to take a more creative position. And Chapek was, he was the CEO, right? So Iger's apparently working with creative. Chapek is running the company. Each one of them thought it was the other's responsibility to handle that Scarlett Johansson situation, because she was coming out with CAA, her talent agency, saying this is a big issue. We got to resolve this before the film's release. And each one of them was like, well, he can handle it. And that's, you know, that was a big problem, right? Wow. So those are the things that I think Disney would like to not have elaboration or detail on. But hey, you know what? This is cool. Nathan 7478 coming in here gifting 10 Vash Sky ParkCast memberships. Oh yeah, that is awesome. Wow. Fantastic. Big times right there.
Nathan, you made my day.
We have Miss MagicalyMJ being gifted a membership.
Oh,
Chris,
me.
yeah. Chris Dickerson becoming a member now. Vixen Sky 007,
Yay!
that being the person that you hear on the phone right there. She is now a member. Aaron Ford Jr. Hogue 6327. This is me. Sean Futch. Ian Kumia. By the way, thank you so much for coming on in. A Hidden Geek Village and Basic Adventures all becoming new Skywatchers because of Nathan. Thank you so much for making this actually possible.
Oh, Nathan, this is fantastic.
By the way, these are 10 more people who can actually see this show on Saturdays going forward. Yes, this is usually a members-only stream. So, you know, we decided, hey, look, listen, we're having so many problems with membership. So many people who would otherwise be members would be able to watch this. It was like, you know what? Let's go ahead and give them this show. That way they can get an experience and really preview this in real time. And by the way, it looks like somebody actually found the new emoji that we're debuting today.
Yay!
That being the Vixen Sky emoji. So
I love my emoji.
absolutely. So Vixen is in the chat for all you members out there, that including the 10 members, as on behalf of Nathan right there. Thank you so much. You can all use the Vixen emoji. It is cool. It is good. It is awesome. So
all my mischief makers.
absolutely. So, hey, if you want to see a stream on Saturday, make sure you become a member yourself and get all of this kind of good old news in there. I'm trying to think about if there was anything that we missed when covering the story. I think that's just about it, right? We have a series of letters of being sent.
I think so.
But this is an escalation. And again, look, if there's something libelous in this book, sure. I think is Disney and Bob Iger are both entitled to take it upon themselves to engage in lawfare, right, to correct that issue. But if there's nothing there, then this is certainly an assault on free speech. I think, and for a weatherman with his career stemming from ABC and ABC News and so forth. This is not a good look. This is not what you want. And, there may have been times when ABC News didn't go to print with stories that they maybe should have. And that's most unfortunate that we're seeing this again.
But wait, is this going to be a tornado or a hurricane or just a bad storm for Bob?
It would be more of a thing if Iger was still the CEO. For right now, he's consultant, and I think he sits on the board or something like that. Yeah, I think he has a board seat anyway. So for right now, it's not as bad as it could have otherwise been. But again, you're talking about still one of the more higher profile figures in all of entertainment. The Walt Disney Company being the leader in entertainment, right? At least in terms of Hollywood production. And so this is still a big story, still a big scandal. This is not what you want. And again, there is a Streisand effect going on where you are having a lot of wish lists and pre-orders, I'm sure, going to be predicated on this particular story. So it's still a big one. It's just until we actually see the book, this is reserved to just a letter writing campaign and still threatening, still intimidation. I think Bellany has that correct. But for right now, we can only wonder what might be in this very infamous tome. Juliet coming in here though, gifting one Vash Sky ParkCast membership. Now you have a new Skywatcher, and it's going to be Felicia Melanie. So thank you so much, Juliet. And
congratulations.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Juliet.
Absolutely. Awesome stuff. Thank you so much for doing that and for modding for us and for making that chat nice and clean. Cool. Okay. I think that just about covers that one up right there. Look at Bob. He's so happy that we're moving on. I am sure. But to speak to another monster, actually, no, I'm just joking. That's a little bit too much. But we do have something going on in the background, I do believe.
Oh, I think it's Larry.
I think it's Larry as well, the famous Larry Tobalt of Wolfman fame. Yes, we are covering the Wolfman. And why are we covering the Wolfman? We're covering the Wolfman for a very specific reason. As you guys know, the Universal Monsters are making an appearance at Universal Studios Hollywood, in the place where the monsters were made, that being Little Europe and the Court of Miracles out there in the Universal Studios backlot over there in Hollywood. And a lot of people have been looking forward to this because, you know, they're mashing up the Scooby-Doo characters and so forth. And you'll be going on an adventure in which you're trying to unravel this mystery. It should be very, very cool. But as you can see on screen right there, we have the amazing Frankenstein, as we have seen him basically showcased true to image in Universal's Dark Universe over there at Epic Universe, right? He's got that, you know, famous, amazing monsters. What is it? Unchained attraction right there. Very, very good. We have Dracula, more in line with the depictions of Dracula that we've come to know and love before. Who
Bela Lugosi.
well, was that no? Bela Lugosi wasn't. He played Frankenstein, right? But that was
that was Boris Karloff.
Oh.
You're getting your monsters.
Oh
mixed up.
yes, Boris Karloff. Yeah, yes. Okay.
Bela Lugosi played Dracula.
Right. Bela Lugosi played Dracula. Right.
Dracula.
And very, very cool stuff for sure. And yeah, I might be getting my mouse just mixed up. So please, if I do that, Vixen, you're going to have to come in and rescue me. And we also have the Bride of Frankenstein right there. But, okay, so why the Wolfman? Well, we're covering the Wolfman because it was revealed that he will be making an appearance, for the first time, by the way, at this Universal FanFest Nights 2026. And it's honestly something I'm not entirely familiar with, or at least the lore and all of that. You can see right here from this MyShit article that each Scooby-Doo character will have a, quote, headquarters. They'll share information to help solve the mystery playing out as part of this experience, but each of the Universal monsters will have their own area as well. Frankenstein's monster, Bride of Frankenstein, Dracula, and the brand new meet and greet character, the Wolfman. We have not seen the Wolfman at all depicted as a meet and greet character or a meet and greet form, either at Universal Studios Hollywood or at Epic Universe, the place for the monsters. Now, we have seen a Wolfman inspired attraction, that being Curse of the Werewolf, and everybody will note that, you know, that famous, I believe, Mac coaster over there plays homage to the Wolfman and the origins of the Wolfman going back to 1941. And you can see the Wolfman depicted in Monsters Unchained, but remember, that's a whole catalog of monsters. The Wolfman was really the only one getting his own attraction there at Universal's Dark Universe. You can kind of see how they depict him right there. That's a very intimidating Wolfman. The Wolfman that we're going to be talking about is brought to life through the magic of makeup, right, from Jack Pierce, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, and his name was Larry.
And his name was Larry Tolbolt. Going there. Before we get to that, though, Space Dave 2000 coming in here, gifting one Vash Sky ParkCast membership. Thank you so much.
Space Dave, thank you so much.
Yep. Mavromat is now a Sky Watcher. Thank you so much.
Whoa, welcome.
That. Yes, so let's go ahead and let's talk about this particular movie right here, because I think it was really, really fascinating. I think you guys, if you're used to coverage like the Genre Guys or the Hollywood Backlot with Lou and you'll note that I love talking about movies. I love talking about, you know, Hollywood history. I think it's so important to actually go over, especially if you love theme parks, because, well, a lot of times these Hollywood movies are adapted into things that we can experience in these theme parks. And so I love going over this right here, Classic Hollywood, The Wolfman. So, Vixen, please, why don't you go over maybe the a little bit of the plot line connected to this movie and the origins of this Wolfman character.
Yes. Well, first of all, Lon Chaney Jr. plays this character. And of course, he's the son of the famous Lon Chaney, the man of 1,000 faces. who was really big in silent pictures, and then he transferred over to talkies. And he made his face into all different kinds of monsters and characters and all types of things. And he was born to two parents that were deaf. And so he grew up not hearing anyone talk. And it made him very expressive with his face and everything. So Lon Chaney Jr., that was his dad, Lon Chaney. And then that's kind of how he grew up, with this dad that was very, very expressive. And Lon Chaney Jr., I think, does a really good job with this film. And he plays Larry, the son of this guy that has a big telescope.
Yes, the big telescope. Okay, I'll start by saying this, okay? I think Lon Chaney Jr. actually does a great job playing this character, because you're still sympathetic for him, even though this guy is a not very sympathetic character. And it all starts with that telescope, like you were saying. So go ahead, please.
No, because he chooses to use the telescope to be a peeping Tom. Right?
Yes.
And try to get himself a girlfriend.
Well, okay, so I guess the original script called for him to be kind of an engineer or something like that. And so that's why they're kind of working on the telescope, right? It's kind of a holdover from when he was just an engineer and not maybe the son of the Talbot, right? I think John Talbot, Sir John Talbot is what they go with for this film. And so that's why they're working on a telescope in the middle of the day, which is kind of interesting.
Well, because it's a little bit easier, to see.
Right. I guess so. I mean, if you're looking to the stars, which, by the way, there's a lot of astrology mixed in with this particular film right here. But I would wait for the night and then just, work on it via flashlight. But I guess it also talks about a little bit the setting for this film. It's a little bit vague as to like where it is exactly. I suppose it's going on in Wales, but it's not really. I don't think they make direct reference to that. It's kind of like a European village, which is why they film in Little Europe for this film and where the origins of the backlot that goes to. But please go ahead.
Yes, and that has to do with FanFest, right? So when you go to FanFest,
yes,
that's where the monsters are going to be.
Right,
correct?
And it's the home of the monsters, the proper home. Dark Universe is an amazing land. There's no question about that. But it is kind of cool to actually go back to the places where this is filmed. You can see on screen right now the famous cane and the cane's head being featured in this. So the cane, I guess, is made of silver, and that is very important to the plot later on.
Yes, it is. And it has a wolf on it.
Yes.
And also a symbol. And Larry could care less that it's a werewolf cane.
Right.
He's warned about it, but to him, he just wants the best cane he can get. So,
yeah, he wants the best
cane.
He
gets this cane.
He wants the best cane he can get, the most gaudy, I guess, the most extravagant.
Yes. And to impress the shop owner, who happens to be this good-looking woman.
Right. Played by Evelyn. What was her name? She plays Gwen in the actual film, but it's
she plays
Evelyn
Gwen.
Ankers. Plays, I guess, the love interest here. And I say I guess because she apparently is engaged by the time that Larry actually meets her, right?
But Larry doesn't care.
And Larry doesn't care. It's so unbelievably strange. Okay, you got folks. If you haven't seen this scene, okay, Larry goes into the antique shop where she's working and says, "Oh, I want, I want something. I want, He makes this line like, I kind of want the jewelry that you wear, on the nightstand over there, and the green ones, and they make you look so good, and all this kind of stuff." And it's like, whoa. She's like, "How do you know any of this?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm a psychic.
I have a telescope."
No, here's the thing. He first says he's a psychic. Then he says the telescope later on that he's been looking at her or whatever. And
Larry's a real player. Yeah, he is.
Which is just I need that clip from Back to the Future where Michael J. Fox looks at his dad, and he goes, "He's a peeping Tom." Yeah, exactly. Like this is what's going on here. It is wild that they depict a character like this, somebody that you're supposed to kind of feel sympathetic with, which is different than the Wolfman of London, I do believe, which was a precursor to this film. It has no direct correlation to it, but it was produced by Universal as well. I think it came out in the 1930s. It really didn't do well at the box office, and it had a very unsympathetic lead character. This was played very much like, Dracula and Frankenstein, in which you are, Frankenstein, I guess, more than Dracula. You are sympathetic to this character, and you're supposed to kind of be like, this is a sympathetic monster.
Yes. I had a hard time being sympathetic to Larry.
Yes, because he is a womanizer, for sure. There's no getting around this.
Well,
because even when she says, "No, I'm engaged," he still kind of goes after her. He still tries to, sweet talk his way into her life, which she kind of, she does. At a certain point, she's like, "No, I'll run away from you. Please don't leave. Let's go together," and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, whoa, this is okay. But that's way ahead of the story right here. So he is attracted to Gwen. Larry is. And he invites her to get her palm read at a local traveling group of characters who I don't even know if we can use the term, but Universal refers to them as mystics in Dark Universe, which I kind of thought that was just set dressing. No, this is very interwoven in this story, and there are many connections to like the occult or they even say paganism and so forth and all of that. These characters, these group of mystics are definitely connected to. Is that right?
There's something to be said about that. Larry got mixed up in some dark energy.
Yes, he was very mixed up in some dark energy right there, and I think it's certainly kind of a moralistic tale, right? So Larry, he makes some mistakes, and it looks like he pays for those in what he's cursed with, which is being the Wolfman. And Bela Lugosi, he returns to the silver screen in a monster flick, but not actually playing the famous Dracula, right?
Yeah.
He is brought back to play the head mystic, who actually conducts the palm reading, not with Gwen though, but with Gwen's friend.
No, Gwen tells Larry, "Okay, so I'm engaged. I can't go out to the forest with you to get my palm read, but here's my friend," and the friend comes out of the door. She's going to go with us.
Yeah,
and he's Larry wasn't pleased.
He's a little disappointed.
Yeah, let's just say she wasn't Larry's type.
yes, that would be correct. And so they go out to the forest. They go out to the palm readers.
Yeah, it was a high-priced date. Larry was taking her on to the forest. Let's go out to the forest.
Okay, so right, without her husband to be, by the way, this is all kosher. This is all good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we forgot about that.
But she had the friend who got her fortune told, right, by Bela.
Right, and she's getting her fortune told, and he kind of is like, whoa, like this is not good. Like this, your fortune.
Well, she asked him, "Will I get married?" She asked him, "Will I get married?" And he's like, "Oh, I don't think so."
This is so bad.
But she did have Wolfbane with her. Don't forget, they picked the Wolfbane by the tree.
Yes, which Wolfbane we actually hear connected to Dracula for the first time. When that picture actually comes out, it is said to be not garlic, but Wolfbane is the natural what is it?
Maybe you should take that on all dates.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, keep yourself
And
safe
see the
here.
reaction, right?
I guess so. Yeah. But Wolfbane is the thing that's most interesting here, and Bella freaks out. He's like, "Whoa, you gotta get out of here," or whatever. She kind of freaks out. She starts running, and that's when Bella turns into an actual wolf, not a wolf man, but an actual wolf. Hunts her down, attacks her, and unfortunately, that's the end of the friend there, which is most unfortunate.
But Larry tries to save the friend.
Yes.
He leaves the good-looking chick that he likes, and he tries to save the friend.
Right.
But then the wolf bites Larry.
Yes. And so that's a little bit of a redemption for Larry, right? Yeah, he became the Wolfman because he was trying to, sacrifice himself to do the right thing. That's good. But unfortunately, not so good for Larry. He ends up and the good-looking chick, this is her friend that just got killed by the wolf. Yes.
But she doesn't care. She's like, "Oh, Larry."
Yeah.
"Are you all right?"
Now, she does have that throwaway line in which she says, "Oh, I have nightmares. I look here and I see my friend," or whatever. But again, it's like there's not much caring going on there. It's all about Larry.
She doesn't have much empathy.
Yeah,
it's all bad.
Much more caring about Larry and his struggles. But he ended up slaying the wolf there, who turns back to Bela, and it's
with his cane. Don't forget,
with his cane.
He slayed the wolf with his cane.
This is why the cane
head
is
of
silver.
it's silver.
Right.
Yeah.
Is very important, and they connect the cane to Larry. And so the cops are going to Larry going, "Hey, what's going on here? Like, what's up?"
Yeah, and oopsie, he leaves the cane there with the wolf.
And Larry does not remember. He's a little bit confused because obviously he slayed the wolf. And he's saying, "Hey, look at my scar. This thing bit me." And there's no scar on his chest there.
No.
And it's like, story's not adding up. Story is not looking so good for Larry. And that's when, exactly. That's when things get a little bit, confusing for Larry, because they're all kind of saying that he's confused, even though he's very affirmative about what he actually saw and his experiences and so forth. He actually gets a little frustrated with people, including Gwen, when they actually try to tell him things that he may have seen or may have saw or may have done, and yet he didn't actually do. And so the effects of the werewolf are coming into play. They're at this carnival or whatever. By the way, with the husband to be and with Gwen, which is very interesting. Yeah, because the husband to be is like, "Oh, I'm not jealous at all. He's a good guy. Let's hang out with Larry." And it's like, what is going on here? Okay, whatever. So they're at this carnival put on by these mystics, I believe, and there's they're doing the target thing with the with the prop guns and everything like that, and there's a target of a bear, and he downs that, and there's a target of something else, he downs that, but then there's a target of a wolf, and he can't bring himself to fire upon that. Later on, he's kind of getting he's kind of out of sorts. He takes off his shoes, and what do you know? He
thought he had a pedicure, and he looked at his feet and thought, "Oh no,
no, big old long nails there, and all this kind
hair.
of hair." Now let's talk about the hair, because apparently that was yak fur. Is that right?
Yeah, yak fur. And when World War II was going on, it was hard to get the in other Wolfman movies, some of them, you see the Wolfman is just his plain hands, because they didn't have enough hair to go around.
Yeah, they didn't have enough hair to go around, because that was becoming a big issue, especially at around the later days. Now, this was released in 1941. Pearl Harbor obviously doesn't happen until December of 41. So this was just right before the war effort. And Universal was already, they were having a tough time, right? Because the European markets were closed. We know Disney was having a difficult time with this as well, so they needed surefire hits. Boom, Wolfman. Okay, so now he's changing into the Wolfman, and he goes out, and it's bad news for, I believe, the Gravedigger, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
It's always Gravedigger, right?
It's always the Gravedigger. That's no good. Didn't know he was going to be digging his own there, and unfortunately he's a victim of the Wolfman, which, by the way, Larry doesn't quite know what happened. Like, he's not conscious of his kind of Wolfman persona right there, which is a big departure from the Werewolf of London, in which he certainly was. So this is kind of the departure of that whole thing. And I think it makes him a much more sympathetic character. Much more, like, oh, he's a victim of this. So I thought that was a very interesting kind of characterization with this particular version of the Wolfman. And so, okay, he goes back. There's a couple of things that happen. Not really that much, not very noteworthy, but he's definitely freaking out. He goes to the head mystic right there. Now the head mystic, which is this older woman.
Older lady.
Yes, older lady. And she tries to help him out, which, by the way, she makes feature appearances in subsequent Wolfman related material.
Oh yes,
that was produced, which is very interesting. But she attempts to help him and attempts to kind of solve his issue. She says, "Hey, you got to wear this, I think, wolfsbane," and he actually gives it over to Gwen, which is very interesting.
Yes.
And then he turns wolf again, which, by the way, they don't really make a whole thing about the moon. That doesn't get added to the lore until after.
No.
This is just kind of an unconscious thing in which he kind of turns, wolf by night. And, he does some bad things, including trying to go after Gwen, which is no good.
Yes.
And that's when he's kind of interrupted by his father, who unfortunately has to make the call to Well,
Gwen's father didn't like him either.
Yeah, Gwen's father not a big fan, for sure.
No. So ladies, always take your father's consideration when he's telling you he doesn't like someone.
Yes, that's
because the father told her, "Do not go with him."
Right. Yeah, he's like, nah, this is not the guy.
This is not the guy for you, Gwen.
She's already engaged. It's a whole thing. Before this whole confrontation with the Wolfman and Gwen, Larry makes one final, he's like, I gotta get out of here. I gotta leave this village or whatever. And she's like, no, don't go. I'll go with you. And that's when,
don't go.
She's like all interested in Larry right now. And it's kind of weird. This is a 60-minute film, right? Or maybe a little bit over. So there wasn't much establishing of their relationship, but it is a little weird how she's practically throwing herself at him.
Now it's all Larry's fault.
Yeah, because he was so convincing. He was so manipulative. Yes.
It's all Larry's fault.
It's oh boy, it's really something right here. I have my problems with Gwen there. But by the way, speaking of problems, I guess Lon Chaney Jr. and Evelyn did not get along.
No, and he didn't really get along that well with Jack Pierce, who did the makeup either.
Right.
I mean, Jack liked him when Lon Chaney was not abiding in liquor, which I guess he did at the end of days.
Yes.
Working.
Yeah.
And so he would spend 4 hours in the makeup chair with Jack, and Jack was, he did all the monsters for Universal.
Oh,
he was a fabulous makeup artist. And
unbelievably
it was really
so
interesting. Yeah,
but this was a very involved makeup process, right? Because I think Jack did work on Werewolf of London. It didn't take nearly as long because I think they wanted to show more of the actual person behind the werewolf, and that's where the consciousness comes in and everything else. This is not that way. This is a very involved job, and to be honest, to me, didn't look all that good going back in time here.
Really?
I don't think
Well,
so. It
Yeah.
kind of, I think the hair up top kind of looks like a fro in certain you know, lighting conditions, right? I just don't think it holds up very well.
So you didn't like the yak hair.
The yak hair, I'm just not a big fan of. But it's more about like, okay, so the depictions of werewolves and the depictions of Wolfman, I guess, over time, I think have changed, especially in the, I don't know, I was going to say Twilight era, but it's, you know, that's kind of a rounding out of this whole thing. Werewolves in media and literature definitely changed over time. This was one of the very first on-screen adaptations of this kind of thing, and I just don't think it works. And this is why I think it's going to be really interesting and fascinating to see what they do at Universal Studios, because are they going to go?
Wait.
Oh, go ahead, please.
I can't wait.
Absolutely. Before we get to that extended combo, we'll go ahead and round out this plot right here. In the end, the Wolfman is taken down via cane again, because remember it's coated with silver, by Papa John Talbot, and that's what kind of makes it a very tragic story, because
His own father,
his own father takes him down, which is kind of sad. That's not what you want to see. And there's this kind of humanizing scene before that happens, in which, you know, Larry's kind of pleading for help and calls him dad, which he doesn't really, you know, do before then. You know, they have a very almost standoffish relationship. I think some of that is a victim of the old script, but it was just kind of fascinating to see that kind of humanistic quality come out, and I think it's really, really, really fascinating.
So the big question is, what Wolfman are we going to see at FanFest?
Right.
Are we going to see this 1941 Wolfman, or are we going to see a later version of the Wolfman?
Okay, so this is incredibly fascinating, because the families connected to maybe Boris Karloff, but specifically Bela Lugosi, right? And Lon Chaney and everybody else, I guess they were a little bit disappointed with depictions of these famous monsters as they were depicted in Dark Universe, because I guess they had conversations with the Universal creative team and Universal representatives who maybe alluded to the fact that they were going to go in more of the classic monsters direction. Instead, they had a very different interpretation on these classic monsters characters, as they were wrapped up in Victoria Frankenstein, and you know there were some liberties that definitely being played right there. So I think everybody's kind of hoping that they do something more akin to these classic interpretations, and this is why I had that image on screen before with those monsters, and why we made such reference to how they look, because if you see here, these monsters are very much in keeping with these original 1930s, 1940s, 1950s classics versus what we have at Dark Universe.
Yeah, really, yeah. That's true.
And so I think there's a little hope there. I'm just going to be honest, though. I don't know if the Wolfman costume works, you know, and this is also why he's not really depicted in light that much. Now, we definitely get better looks at him in subsequent material, in which Lon Chaney actually came back to depict those versions of the Wolfman. He kind of considered it his baby at one point, which is really interesting, because Lon Chaney Jr. did not want to follow in the footsteps of his father originally. Lon Chaney being the man of 1,000 faces, and depicting people like the Phantom of the Opera, and also to, I think, Hunchback of Notre Dame. I believe he did that as well. He did not want to do that, and yet he was kind of roped into it by Universal, who did, and he kind of took a liking to the Wolfman and Larry as a character.
True, he did. And you know, Andy Masterson, that's in the chat, he says he has a casting of the wolf head cane handle made from the original.
Oh,
how cool is that?
That is super cool. That's awesome,
Andy. That's fantastic.
It's a cool looking cane. Outside of the
It is a cool looking cane. I saw it advertised somewhere on Google for $799.
Whoa. And
So
this
a
really
steepy
speaks
price.
to the Wolfman and why he may have been given his own attraction, separate from the other monsters featured in Monsters Unleashed. The Wolfman is kind of like low-key one of the most successful of the monsters. And I was actually shocked to hear that. I would have thought Frankenstein, I would have thought Dracula, but no, the Wolfman was unbelievably popular.
That's why he got his own ride at Epic.
Yeah, yeah. There you go. I was surprised to have heard that, and the Wolfman, I will say, he is kind of referenced again in subsequent media, not just with the House of Frankenstein and a couple of the other mashup films, but also too werewolves certainly make their mark in Van Helsing, which that is kind of the origins of Dark Universe and all of that. Originally, the plan was to do a Van Helsing ride, and unfortunately that franchise bombs. So they end up using that same ride system and a lot of those same ideas for the Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey. That's where they eventually take the Kukulkan technology and the castle and walkthrough and all of that. Then that all makes its return, not as Van Helsing, but with Dark Universe, Monsters Unleashed, and all of that. But with Van Helsing, they definitely make the werewolf thing. They bring that into the fold, and that is one of the big foils of that version of Dracula in that film.
I'm just so excited to see the Wolfman at FanFest. So I hope they let us take photos with him.
I hope they do. I think they will. Andy Masterson coming back in here, Vash Sky ParkCast, and Vixen Sky 007. Gary Ambrosia tracked down the latest stunt handle and made a mold. Oh, that's super cool.
Isn't that cool?
That is awesome. I believe, though, that Talbot Sr. actually hit Lon Chaney Jr. pretty hard, giving him a black eye in that scene where they face off against each other.
Wow.
It was an accident, but that does happen, and that involved the cane right there. So that is cool. Ooh. Latex stunt handle. Very, very awesome. Very, very cool right there. Also cool. MagicalyMJ coming in here gifting one Vash Sky ParkCast membership, and also very awesome. And what is it, Humphrey the Bear? Hey, that's an amazing viewer right there. Congratulations, you have MJ to thank for your membership and becoming a Sky Watcher. Also coming in here with the $4.99.
Oh, welcome.
Vixen is a wealth of knowledge. Looking forward to more of her content.
Oh, mwah. Thank you, MJ.
That's super
so
cool.
Sweet.
Yes. Awesome stuff. Thank you so much for coming on in here and supporting the channel the way you do. I know you're the producer extraordinaire. Awesome stuff. Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm hoping, for one, that whatever version of the Wolfman they go with is appearance-wise somebody worth taking a photo with, and that too, I'm hopeful for a meet and greet experience with this, because we've just never seen the Wolfman be featured in Universal, not in Dark Universe, not in Hollywood of yore, nothing. So this is really, really cool.
No. Yeah, it's super cool. So I'm wondering if they're going to bring out Wolfman merch. I'm dying to see that.
Yes.
To see what they do for FanFest.
Maybe the famous cane makes an appearance.
Maybe.
That would be cool.
I hope Andy becomes a member so we can see him on this stream again.
Absolutely. Yes.
In the future. Because that's so awesome that he has that cane.
Yeah. I think that's super, super cool. It is one heck of a thing. And as Lon Chaney Jr.'s character, Larry, says...
That's a treasure.
It'd make a heck of a putter.
That's a treasure to pass down, right? In your family? That's a treasure.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Super, super cool. Disney Fan 55 coming in here. I missed the Van Helsing walkthrough at Universal Studios Hollywood. I was so scared. Yeah, that was a cool thing. that was the hope, was that was a first of many things to come from the Van Helsing series. Just never materialized, and I still have a soft spot for that one. I know it's campy and all that, but Hugh Jackman playing Van Helsing, that's pretty cool. That was a pretty cool thing right there.
Yeah.
By the way, it made a lot of the same guys who did The Mummy with Brendan Fraser and so forth worked on that film, so that's kind of...
Right. Do you know what this film didn't have was a mad scientist, right?
No, not in this one. And we talked about that, actually, about the idea that a lot of these films make reference to the mad scientist and actually kind of give this very what do you want to say, like the Jurassic Park, for instance, right? There's a lot of messaging in there about the dangers of science and this kind of this almost warning of what science is capable of. That really has its origins in terms of the depictions of science on screen. It has its origins going all the way back to these monster films, because that is certainly a theme within Frankenstein. For sure.
Definitely. Yes.
And yeah, you do have a scientist. I believe it's Van Helsing, the scientist in Dracula, saying, "Hey, this is how you take down the monster," or Dracula himself, as he is a vampire. But the person who plays Van Helsing actually makes a reappearance in Frankenstein under a different character. Very interesting, very, very strange. And it's like this, kind of mad scientist story in which it's like, I can basically play God, which is super taboo for that time period. In fact, it was so taboo that the line, the famous line that you hear, right? "Oh, it's alive! It's alive!" It goes on. And it was the extended line was cut from the theatrical when it was released in the 1930s. He goes on to say, "It's alive! It's alive! Now I know what it feels like to be God." And it's like, whoa, that's a pretty strong thing right there. They cut that line for release back in that time period. That was later restored on subsequent versions. I believe the Blu-ray or the 4K Blu-ray actually fully brought back that line. But it was, this kind of whole thing of playing God and all of that really has its origins with these films right here. This film, though, takes a different path. This is certainly dealing with the occult and mysticism and, astrology and all those kind of things.
Right. It does. It has a lot of occult stuff in this film.
Lots of
definitely.
It. Yeah.
I think more than the other monster films, basically. Don't you think?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, there's
the Universal ones, the old ones.
Yeah. So Dracula kind of makes reference to a little bit of that, but not as much here. This is definitely something where it's a little bit more substantial in the plot and otherwise. And that's kind of a thing as well. In fact, you're seeing scenes of this right here actually on screen right now. But there's a point in which Larry goes to the morgue, I guess, in order to check in on the mystic that he might have killed. And there you have the I guess grieving mystic, right? And she wants to kind of put on the celebration of life and the what is it, what is it? I'm trying to think. It's maybe a pasture or whatever. Says no, you paganism or whatever. This is terrible. This is awful. You can't do this, and really makes a stink of it, which I thought was also very interesting.
That's true. Yeah. That is interesting.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah. That is very interesting. I'm anxious to see the next movie with Frankenstein and the werewolf.
Yeah. Is there? Oh, yes. The continuing our saga. Actually, Vixen and I, to be forthright, we are going over all of the Universal monster films. And so we started with Dracula. We're going with Frankenstein. We kind of took a little bit of a detour with Wolfman because we really wanted to get it out here before this show right here. But we plan to go back to watch The Mummy, Invisible Man, and all of that. Very, very interesting stuff. I think these films are underrated. They actually hold up pretty well. Not all things, but I think a lot of it does. And certainly Lon Chaney Jr.'s depiction of the Wolfman, I think, it was very interesting to watch, I will say. It's a very interesting character. But Lon Chaney did come back, and he depicts future versions of Larry, and I think it's pretty cool because there's definitely an arc there. And as I think one reviewer noted, Wolfman's the one character that doesn't get sidelined by everybody else, right? He's a big stalwart going throughout the monster universe, and it's really, really cool to see. Anywho's, that about wraps up not just our coverage of.
Can we give him a howl?
Oh, I think we can give him a howl. Let's see here if I can actually get that going.
Like Larry saying goodbye. There you go. That being the famous sound effect from the Haunted Mansion for those theme park enthusiasts. Orange Grove 55 coming in here with the $4.99. Keep up the fantastic great to see Orange Grove 55.
Absolutely. Vash Sky with multiple Y's at the end there. Thank you so much. Very much appreciate that, man. Yeah, I if those of you who aren't familiar, definitely check the collaboration section within this channel after this amazing show, because you'll find in there a collaboration that I did with Orange Grove 55 very recently, talking about the rumor out there that Zootopia might be the franchise that replaces Avatar for the Avatar themed land planned for Disney's California Adventure over there at Disneyland Resort. Very interesting discussion, because I think a lot of people are they go into the strength of franchises and so forth, which is good, but I think we really got into the nitty gritty of like the practical problems with incorporating Avatar and why there were reservations about that, not just because of the strength of the franchise, but for other reasons and so forth. We go over a lot of the logistics behind all of that and so much more. Definitely check it out. I will say it's a pretty darn good video. That I will have to admit right there. And I usually don't do that. But let me see here. I believe Theme Park Casual is currently streaming right now. Let me just go ahead and make sure. Okay. Yes, he is. So we're going to do right here. He is live at Knott's Farm, actually, which is another great.
Oh, one of my favorite places. Oh, great.
Yes, you did have a little bit of a run-in with Knott's Farm recently, right?
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
All that boysenberry stuff. Yum, yum.
Absolutely. So we're going to go ahead and redirect you over there. Make sure you tell them Vash Sky ParkCast raid. I think that would be really, really cool. And just so y'all know, we stream on Saturdays, but it's usually members only. This will make good for those people who couldn't actually become a member at the time.
If you want to see Vixen, you have to be a member.
You got to be a member.
I get to hear her.
Yes. If you want to hear more of Vixen, please go ahead and hit that membership button right there. And we will be doing this for members every single Saturday. If not that,
exactly.
Maybe other times if things come in the way, but we're really trying to make this a weekly thing. So definitely hit that membership button right there. I love
all my mischief makers. Come back.
Yes, come back. Yeah. Make sure you bring your death certificate. I actually have the audio for that. I don't know if I can play it though, because it might be copyrighted.
Yeah, we don't want to get in trouble.
I can try. Let me see if I can find it actually. Yeah, I do have the
Welcome back. There you go.
There you go. there. So I got that. Yeah, I got it in my repertoire right there. Thank you so much. Very much appreciate all of you for coming in for this amazing episode.
Oh, Disney Fan 55 just subscribed to my channel. Thank you. Thank you for the ones that subscribed. And
Yes.
Juliet also.
Oh, well, let's actually
You guys are great.
let's go ahead and showcase that real fast because I forgot we were going to do that. You have your own X account now, Vixen.
I do. I'm all in the socials.
Yes. Let me see if
I'm
I
on
can actually...
TikTok, X, YouTube, all of that.
Absolutely.
Instagram.
Now, the link to Vixen Sky's X account is actually in the description of this video right now. She's prominently featured, but also too, I want to go ahead and put this on screen because I think it's very important that we have anybody who contributes to the channel, that we promote them. Here you go. Here is her X account. Hasn't posted yet, but I'm sure that is coming very, very soon right there. Awesome stuff. Definitely check out Vixen Sky right there. And yes, your Instagram account as well. Any other socials we should be aware of?
No, I'm planning to be on Substack though.
Okay.
And do a little bit of writing.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that would be cool. That would be.
Yeah.
I
So
like this.
please send me messages, interact. I'd love to meet up.
Please do.
It'll be great.
Right here.
Yeah.
So you can find her right there with the links provided, both in the description and otherwise. I'm sure she's got all of her social medias linked right there, in which you can follow her on all of these amazing platforms. Until next time, Skywatchers, Skyliners, we will see the Skywatchers out there next Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern. And for Skyliners and watchers, everybody out there on both X and YouTube, we will be streaming again Wednesdays, on Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, right after that Park Place.
Like and subscribe.
Absolutely. Like, subscribe, become a member right there to get more of this stuff. And if you got that hype button out there, which I got that turned on, I haven't seen it myself, but if you got that hype button, that will really help us out as well with our amazing growth. I want to keep it going right there. We want to provide you all kinds of amazing content going forward. So please go ahead and interact with that. And I think that just about wraps it up. Remember, all you Skyliners, all you Skywatchers, the sky is the limit.